Assalamu alaikum, dear viewers. Welcome to Arba'een Q&A. I'm your host, Muzaffar Hyder. Here in the studio today we have with us Sheikh Ali. Sheikh Ali, Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah.
It's a pleasure and an honor to have you. So today we're going to be discussing about the movement of Imam Hussein. As we said, there's two ways to look at the tragedy of Karbala. It's either a movement or a story. Some people just see it as a story, a set of rituals, and that's pretty much it. Some people see it as a movement, it's something alive. So with that in mind, I would like to discuss Karbala and Ashura in correlation with or to the zuhur of Imam al-Mahdi, Hujjat al-Qa'im.
A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Our condolences to all the believers out there who are commemorating the Ashura and the Arba'een. These months of Muharram and Safar, they are the months of pain and sorrow for Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam. So for all those viewers who are out there remembering Ahlul Bayt alayhi salatu wassalam, may Allah reward you for all your worships, for all your services for this deen, for this cause. Now today we will inspect this question that you just raised. As we said previously, that there are two, at a macro level, there are two narratives. One is that Karbala is just a story in the past. It's something that happened on the fields of Karbala in Iraq, and the grandson of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he was martyred. The Ahlul Bayt were made captives, and it is something very sorrowful. It is very painful, which it is, but this is where it ends. We remember that. Why? Because we love them. We remember the whole incident. Why? And we narrate it. Why? Because we feel our connection with the Ahlul Bayt. And again, why do we beat our chest? Why do we shed our tears? Why? Because we want to go to Jannah. You know, these are few of the reasons of the traditional narrative.
Superficial reasons, it could be argued.
Well, while it has some level of depth, but whether it is what the entire movement was designed for or not, we will discuss that.
Okay.
So this is a narrative which we call a traditional narrative. Then the other narrative is the real or the revolutionary narrative. See, I ask a question. Do you think Imam Hussein alayhi salam, he got up and gave all these sacrifices just because he wanted you to go to Jannah?
Yes.
He could have arranged Jannah for you otherwise as well.
Well, it could be argued that, I mean, you know, they came for our guidance, right, to get us Jannah. So, yeah, it
correct.
Could be argued.
So they laid their lives for what? They could have continued to guide us towards Jannah. They were doing that. The sacrifice piece in there, it makes it very different. The sacrifice was given for something greater than that, something higher than that. Jannah and heaven for you was there. Even if you just, do these 10, 15, 20 things, you go to Jannah. Imam Hussein alayhi salam himself and his companions and his family, they were all doing halal and wajibat and avoiding the haram. They were also going to Jannah. What compelled Imam Hussein alayhi salam to get up and go to Karbala and face the tyrant of the time, who he knew had a big army, who he knew is coming equipped? What for? There's a bigger objective behind it. It's more than just a story. It's more than just something for you to be able to shed your tears. It had a spirit to it. For us to understand this whole movement, we got to go back in the history and start from the beginning.
From Adam?
Yes.
Okay.
So all of these prophets, 124,000 prophets, why were they sent by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala?
To guide human beings.
To guide human beings. Do you think they're part of one movement, or were they separate movements of their own?
All part of the exact same movement.
They have to be, right? They're
yeah.
the continuation of each other, 124,000. So this movement started back then, continued, came to the time of Prophet, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam being the last messenger, was he part of this movement or not?
He was part of that movement.
It was the continuation of that movement. Now, Imam Ali alayhi salam, after the...
could be argued he was the pinnacle of that movement.
Exactly. Imam Ali alayhi salam, was he part of that movement? Was he continuation of that same prophethood in the form and shape of Imam or no?
Yes, absolutely.
Right? So the movement was continuing. It was not Imam Hussein alayhi salam out of blue as an individual getting up, getting something done, and then people crying over it. It is a movement. Now look at the movement. What are the goals of this movement? What are the principles of that movement? Because when you say it's that same movement, then these things have to be consistent throughout.
Before we delve into that any deeper, Sheikh, we have to go to a quick break.
Sure.
We came asking for the Father of Sajjad and Ali al-Akbar. We came asking for the Father of Sajjad and Ali al-Akbar. Where did he lay? Show me the way. Where did he lay? Show me the way. When you went to Karbala, who did you see? About Hussein. Tell me where's Hussein's head and his great body. Find out for me and then tell me where is he. From my soul I am asking, where is his body laying? From my soul I am asking, where is his body laying? Where is he? Please tell me. Where is he? Please tell me. We came asking for the Father of Sajjad and Ali al-Akbar. We came asking for the Father of Sajjad and Ali al-Akbar. Where did he lay? Show me the way. Where did he lay? Show me the way. When you went to Karbala, did you see how did the moon of Hashim fall? Tell me how. Usually it's high in the sky, never low, laying on the ground, eyes shot by an arrow. I'll send my life to his eye. Surely this is no surprise. Where is he? Please tell me. Where is he? Please tell me. We came asking for the Father of Sajjad and Ali al-Akbar. Where did he lay? Show me the way. We came asking for the Father of Sajjad and Ali al-Akbar. Where did he lay? Show me the way.
Welcome back, dear viewers. before the break, we were discussing how the movement of Imam Hussein is the very same movement of, well, we had to go back in time. We looked at Adam all the way throughout the 124,000 prophets, and we said that the Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam was the pinnacle, and that Imam Hussein alayhi salam is the continuation of that. So where are we going with this, Sheikh?
So we're saying that this movement started back then. This movement continued. Imam Hussein alayhi salam is not an event, a historic event that needs to be inspected regardless of anything, like as a singled out personality or a singled out personality with his family.
We have to look at it holistically.
We have to look at the entire movement. We have to see why he did the qiyam. Why did he do the uprising? Why did he take a stance? What were the principles and what were the goals? Well, a very clear goal of Imam Hussein alayhi salam and his stance was the same as the other Anbiya, was the progress of humanity, their spiritual development, and also the not just at the individual level, at the social level as well. The society had to progress. All the prophets, they attempted for it, and the Imam Hussein alayhi salam in this case as well. He wanted humanity to progress.
Ya qawmi, ya qawmi.
Right? Then you look at his stance and you go like, what is the other goal? The implementation of divine justice system of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is one point that has been consistent throughout this movement of the messengers, of the prophets, and of the infallible imams. Because without the implementation of the divine government of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on this planet Earth, we're going to keep witnessing what we're witnessing. And that is the governments of the pharaohs, the governments of the Yazids, the government of the oppressors, the governments of the tyrants. Imam Hussein alayhi salam said, no, it has to be a government based on the divine principles of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
Okay, wait. So before the break, you mentioned that it was not just about getting people to Jannah.
Yeah.
And I was going to ask, well, what is it actually for then? You're arguing that
the movement, because you have to look at what is the hadaf of the creation of humanity.
To
Why
worship
did
Allah.
That's according to the verse of Quran, worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And what does he get in return? The answer is he gets Allah himself. So in reality, a human being is supposed to go back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah is the ultimate goal. Jannah is a very low level goal. There are levels within Jannah. There are levels within paradise. Do you think like ordinary person who goes to Jannah just because he did some good deeds and avoided haram, he's going to be at the same level of Rasulullah in Jannah? No. Do you think he's going to be at the same level as of Habib ibn Mazahir?
No.
Hazrat Abbas?
No.
So there are levels in Jannah, right? How do you get to those higher levels? This is all the movement is about, to open up that door for the entire humanity to progress and develop in their spiritual ascension towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
Incidentally, Sheikh, you've reminded me of the hadith from Imam Hussein alayhi salam, where he says that there are three types of worshippers, and I'm paraphrasing here, where he says the first type worships Allah for the sake of his divine reward, like for paradise. This is just the worship of the merchants.
Merchants.
And then there's a type of worshipper who worships Allah out of fear of the hellfire. This is just the worship of a slave. And then there's the worshipper who worships Allah because he is thankful to Him.
So, and this is the hadith of Imam Ali alayhi salam.
Imam Hussein as well.
Okay. So, one of the goals is to preserve the rights of the oppressed. If you look throughout the history and the movement of the prophets, 124,000 messengers and prophets, they wanted to preserve the rights of the oppressed. They wanted to keep them safe from the stronger ones to take advantage of them. Imam Hussein alayhi salam stood up for that. See, when you look at the goals again of the movement of Imam Hussein alayhi salam, it's obstructing the evil, not letting the evil spread. Right? He wanted to be a barrier in between the spread of evil and the society. right? Hence he gave all these sacrifices. Now we go back to my original comment that the sacrifices was not given just so that you can shed tears and go to Jannah. You're short selling the sacrifice of Imam Hussein alayhi salam. The sacrifice had a philosophy, it had very defined goals. The islah of Ummah of Rasulullah, the rectification, because the Ummah had gone so far away from the ideals.
60 years after the Holy Prophet.
Exactly, and incidentally, the leader of the Islamic Ummah, he raises that question. What is that? It took the situation to a level where just a few years after the demise of the Holy Prophet, the grandson of Holy Prophet is being massacred. Why? What for? The answer to that we're actually gonna give in another program, and that is the love of the world. Hubbud dunya, as the Ma'soom says, Hubbud dunya ra'su khadiyatin, that the love of this world is the head of all the evils. Right? This is where it all begins. One falls in love with this dunya. And this is what their problem was. Hence they could not put up with Ahlul Bayt. Now, the relationship with Imam Mahdi alayhi salam, and we are coming to conclude this question of yours that you asked. Once you understand the goals of Imam Hussein alayhi salam, you know exactly what Imam Mahdi alayhi salam is going to do.
Allah, right.
And Imam Mahdi alayhi salam, ajalallahu ta'ala farajahum sharif, he is waiting for that ummah who is ready and prepared enough to embrace him.
This goes back perfectly with everything that we've been discussing in previous episodes as well, about this being a divine strategy of the Imams.
Exactly.
A divine political strategy even, to prepare people in future generations, i.e. inshaAllah us, to rise against oppressors. Because in Ziyarat Ashura we actually say, Inni silmun liman salamakum wa harbun liman harabakum. We are at peace with whoever makes their peace with you, Ya Hussein, and we are at war with whoever is at war with you, Ya Hussein.
And very easily you can just replace this Ya Hussein with Ya Mahdi.
Ya Mahdi, right.
It's the same concept, because it's the same movement. So in the time of Rasulullah, we would say, we're at peace with those who are at peace with you, Ya Rasulullah. Right? And we are at war with those who are at war with you, O Ya Rasulullah. Same thing we say about Imam Ali alayhi salam, Imam Hassan alayhi salam, Imam Hussein alayhi salam, Imam Sajjad alayhi salam. Now in the time of Imam Mahdi alayhi salam, this is exactly what we are saying. That we are at peace with you, who are at peace with you, O Imam of the time, Imam Mahdi alayhi salam. And we are at war with them, who are at war with you, O Mahdi alayhi salatu wassalam, the son of Hussein and the Hussein of today, inshallah.
Dear viewers, that's all we have time for today, unfortunately. We hope that you benefited from the show, and dear Sheikh, it's a pleasure and an honor to have you here. Jazakallah for your wisdom. Inshallah, we'll see you next time. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
حسين وحسين